You ever have one of those moments when the ordinary just flips upside down on you when a regular afternoon suddenly feels like you've stepped into somebody else's movie? That's exactly what happened to Daniel Carter. On paper, Daniel was the kind of man you'd assume had everything figured out. CEO of a tech company, Millionaire before 40. The guy who always parked his spotless black Jaguar in the far corner of the grocery store lot because he hated dings on his doors. He wasn't flashy, just private efficient, the type who moved fast so nobody had the chance to waste his time. It was one of those blistering summer afternoons in Dallas when the pavement looked like it was melting under the sun. Daniel had just finished tossing a couple bags of groceries into the trunk, thinking about the investor call he still had to prep for later that night. He slid into the driver's seat, pulled the door shut with that satisfying thud, and reached for his sunglasses. That's when he heard it. He heard a shuffle. Not outside, but inside. The kind of sound that makes your skin crawl because you know it doesn't belong. He froze, hands suspended in midair. Slowly, his eyes shifted to the rearview mirror. At first, all he saw was glare bouncing off the glass. But then the glare shifted, and there she was. A little girl couldn't have been older than 8. Skin like warm coffee hair puffed into 2 lopsided buns, big dark eyes locked on him like she'd been waiting for this exact moment. Before Daniel could process what he was looking at, her tiny finger shot up to her lips. "Shut up," she hissed. He blinked hard, leaned back in his seat. Excuse me?" Her eyes darted to the windshield, then back at him. "I said shut up." Daniel scanned the parking lot through the glass. A couple teens loaded bottled water into an old pickup. A woman with a stroller wandered by a man heaving ice bags into his trunk. Nothing out of the ordinary. No one chasing anyone. But this girl, she was acting like the FBI was on her tail. Keeping his voice low, he asked, "Why are you in my car?" Her tiny shoulders lifted, dropped, like it didn't matter. "Just don't talk," she whispered, then ducked lower, vanishing from view. Now Daniel wasn't the type to get rattled easily. Boardroom fights and hostile investors had trained him to keep his cool, but a random child crouched in his back seat. That wasn't going to slide. He twisted in his seat just enough to get a better look. She was still there, curled tight knees pressed to her chest. Her t-shirt was a faded yellow camp shirt, her sneakers worn but not dirty, her face scrubbed clean. She didn't look like she was running from trouble, but the way she stared out ahead, rigid and focused, it made his gut clench. Daniel's brain spun through possibilities, lost kid prank, or worse, someone chasing her. He muttered, "Look, I don't know what's going on, but you can't just..." Her head snapped toward him. "I said don't talk." Her voice wasn't angry. It was sharp, focused, like she had a plan he was about to ruin. Daniel sighed, rubbed his temple. He pushed open the door, stepping into the blast of Texas heat. That's when he noticed her. A woman weaving between cars a few rows down, looking around nervously, peering under vehicles. Not frantic, not screaming, just searching. He didn't know yet if the two were connected, but something told him it wasn't random. He slid back into the driver's seat. The girl hadn't moved. "All right," he said softly. "You're in my car, telling me to keep quiet, and there's a woman outside looking like she lost something. Maybe you. Is she looking for you?" The girl's eyes narrowed. "You're too loud." Daniel raised his brows. "I'm whispering." "That's still too loud. If she hears you, the game's over." "Game?" Daniel tilted his head. "Hide and seek." Her lips twitched into a tiny grin. "You're my last hiding spot." Daniel just stared at her. "Hold on. You climbed into a stranger's car in the middle of a parking lot. For hide and seek, you're not a stranger now." He let out a dry laugh. "Oh, I'm very much still a stranger. Do you even know my name, Daniel? She shot back instantly. That made him flinch. How do you know that? She rolled her eyes. It's on the tag of your grocery bag. He glanced down. Sure enough, he'd written his name and number inside the reusable bags months ago. Smart, but now it felt like he'd just been outplayed by an 8-year-old. You're sharp, he admitted, but you still shouldn't be here. Your mom or whoever's looking for you is probably freaking out. I told you, she whispered a little louder this time. The game's not over yet. Daniel exhaled, shaking his head. This wasn't some emergency. This was a stubborn little girl taking her pretend game to the extreme. But then he looked out again. The woman had moved closer, scanning Rose, her eyes narrowing under the sun. And Janelle, as the girl finally admitted her name, looked like she'd fight him to the death to keep her spot. How long does this game last, he asked. Until somebody wins. And who decides that the seeker? Daniel nodded toward the woman. That heard Janelle peeked between the seats, then ducked back down. Yeah, she's too good. She always finds me first. I wanted to win this time. Daniel sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. You realize you broke into my car. I didn't break anything. The door was open. She wasn't wrong. He'd left it unlocked while loading groceries. Still, it wasn't normal. Then she did something that made him pause. Pulled a cheap plastic stopwatch from her backpack, clicked the button, and showed him. 23 minutes, she said proudly. That's my new record. Daniel squinted. You're timing this. Of course. A game's not fun if you don't know the score. For the first time, he felt his lips twitch into a smile. This kid wasn't running from danger. She was running from losing. Pride radiated from her tiny frame. He saw himself in her, the same stubborn streak that had once pushed him to fight for every inch of respect in boardrooms full of men twice his age who never thought he'd make it. But before he could say anything else, there was a knock on the window. Aunt Kim. She leaned down, peering inside. Have you seen a little girl? Yay tall yellow shirt hair and puffs. Daniel's gaze flicked to the mirror. Janelle was frozen wide-eyed, mouthing, Don't tell her. He cleared his throat. Can't say I have. He lied. Kim sighed, shifting her purse strap. She's been hiding from me for 15 minutes. Store manager's helping, but she's quick. If you see her yell, her name's Janelle. Daniel gave a careful nod. I'll keep an eye out. She thanked him and walked on. The second she disappeared, Janelle whispered, See, I'm winning. You're giving your aunt a heart attack, Daniel muttered. She's not mad, Janelle countered. She's just competitive. That's not competitive. That's stressed. You've got half the store staff searching for you. Janelle grinned. That means I'm winning big. Daniel shook his head, equal parts amused and exasperated. He was about to tell her the game had to end when Kim circled back, hands on her hips, eyes narrowed. She stopped right by his Jaguar. I'm almost positive she's in here, she said. Daniel smirked. And what makes you so sure? Kim leaned in, gave him a knowing smile. That look you've got, the one people get when they're hiding something. And just like that, Janelle popped up. Not fair. You cheated. You saw me through the reflection. Kim laughed, relief breaking across her face. Didn't need the reflection, kiddo. I just know you too well. Janelle groaned as Kim opened the back door, pulling her out by the hand. You almost gave me a headache this time, Kim said, though her voice was gentle. You can't just hop into strangers' cars. That's not safe. I just wanted to win once Janelle muttered, eyes on the asphalt. Kim knelt leveled with her. Games are fun, but they don't matter more than being safe. You hear me? Janelle nodded slowly. Daniel leaned out the window. For what it's worth, it was a championship-level hiding spot. But your aunt's right. You don't win anything worth having by taking risks that big. Janelle gave a tiny smile. Thanks for not telling on me right away. Daniel chuckled. Just promise me next time you pick a hiding place that doesn't have an ignition key. Kim shook her head, smiling as she tugged Janelle toward the lot. And Daniel, sitting there with his engine idling, realized something. Even in the smallest choices, where you hide when you step out of silence, when you decide a game is over, there's a lesson. Sometimes pride teaches you more than success does. As he watched them walk away hand in hand, he thought about all the battles he'd fought just to prove he belonged. And he couldn't help but wonder, maybe winning isn't about outsmarting everyone else. Maybe it's about knowing when to stop fighting and when to let someone else find you. So tell me this, if it were your kid, your niece, or even you as a child, would you rather win the game or keep the trust of the people who love you? Drop your thoughts below. Was Janelle just being a kid, or did she cross the line? And do you think Daniel did the right thing lying to cover for her? Let's hear it.